All right, this is week C of the Visionary Leadership Program 6.0 Kingdom Fellowship Council, and this video is about leaving the familiar. And this is in reference to when God called Abram out of the land that he'd been living in for his entire life. And it's a story that's told in Genesis, and then another story of being called out into unfamiliar territory is Moses in Exodus. And these are both men that were called to leave everything that they had known, the land that they grew up in, their father's house, move away from the nation that they lived in and the language that they spoke, and be in a completely foreign environment. So opposite of familiar is foreign. And it's leaving behind everything you know. It's leaving behind all of your control techniques, including trying to predict the future, trying to play God, trying to understand how the outcome of this action is, what's going to result from the outcome of this action. We refer to it a lot as playing chess. If I make this move, what's going to happen? Am I still going to be safe? And instead, God invites you to step into and trust His promises, and to say, I want you to participate in this covenant with me, in this relationship with me, in this adventure with me. And I'm calling you out into the unfamiliar because you have to leave behind everything that you think you know. You have to humble yourself, and you have to become like a little child again so that you're able to enter my kingdom. And I loved when they said, it's movement into the mystery. This is where you let go of all predictability, like that stone that you're about to step on, you can't even see it, but God's calling you forward. Take the step, and the step will appear when you've taken the action. And so God made the promise to Abram, I'm going to make you the father of many nations, and he didn't even have a son then, and had a wife that couldn't conceive a child, in worldly terms, couldn't conceive a child. And lo and behold, they gave birth to Isaac, and Israel was born. And so God can fulfill these promises, but it requires your participation and your moving forward with it. So you're moving in faith, walking by faith, not by sight. I can't see the next step. I can't even see where we're going. God's just giving me one little tiny piece of the puzzle at a time. There's no map, there's no timeline, there's no proof, there's just this promise, there's just faith, and there's just trust. And so it's stepping into obedience to God, trust first, and then obedience. I'm telling you to take this step, and I'm going to obey, and I'm going to take this step. And you're not attached to the outcome, and you're not taking credit for whatever the outcome is either. You're not taking credit for the outcome, and you're not judging the outcome. If you were obedient and you took the step that God told you to take, no matter how it turns out, you can know and you can trust that this was what God expected. Might not be what little me had planned, what little me thought would happen, the way that little me thought this would turn out, but God's got a plan that's way higher than man's. And He's calling us all into covenant and away from this idea of worldly contracts, that a transaction's meant to cover your butt and my butt. I know what you're agreeing to, you know what I'm agreeing to, we're both agreeing to fulfill this. When God's saying, nope, you're going to walk first, and it's because I walked first. When God made the covenant with Abraham, He put Abraham to sleep, and he actually walked that covenant himself. He walked down that aisle with himself, with Jesus, and fulfilled the covenant himself. Because He knew that Abraham would fail. He knew that we're human. We're not perfect. He didn't design us that way. He actually designed us to need Him, to be in relationship with Him, to trust us, for Him to tell us where we need to go, what step we need to take next. And so God's inviting us all into this covenantal relationship with Him. And God calling you to leave everything that's familiar to you and walk away and do something completely new is very unsettling. It's unfamiliar and uncomfortable for a reason, because He expects you to trust and rely on Him. And I've had a very miniature version of that myself in my life, leaving behind the country that I grew up in, my blood family, moving to another country where they speak another language. Thankfully, I'm familiar enough to have known that, but these are still things. Leave, go to an unknown place, and follow me, child. But God's got you. So that is leaving the familiar. And if you'd like to learn more about the Visionary Leadership Program, you can check out the link that will be below this video. Thanks for listening.